There's a saying in sports, bad teams find ways to lose, and no team lives that truth harder than the Cleveland Browns. Their latest collapse? A 23-6 loss to the Baltimore Ravens in a game they led for most of the first half. A game where the defense played like warriors. A game where Myles Garrett racked up 4 sacks. A game that should have been a statement, and instead became a symbol. A symbol of dysfunction, of wasted talent, of catastrophic decision-making from the top down. This wasn't just a loss, it was an unraveling in real time. The Browns are now 2-8. Their season isn't slipping, it's spiraling. And the only thing more broken than the offense is the system that built it. Confused quarterback rotations, shady injury announcements, zero accountability, and a coaching staff that somehow made a bad situation worse by mismanaging everything. Meanwhile, the defense is playing championship-level football. Yes, championship level. And still, it's not enough. Because the other side of the ball can't run a slant without chaos. And the quarterback carousel has officially become a joke. One that's costing this team games, seasons, and possibly careers. The Browns aren't just losing games. They're proving over and over that something deep inside this franchise is broken, and no one in charge has any real plan to fix it. Dillon Gabriel started the game as the Browns QB again, and once again, he brought nothing to the table but empty stats and wasted drives. His short-lived outing ended at halftime when he was pulled due to a suspected concussion. No explosive plays, no rhythm. Just 68 yards, 10 attempts, and a team still stuck in neutral. Then came the moment fans had been begging for. Shedeur Sanders stepped onto the field to a wave of anticipation and deafening cheers. The crowd lit up. 2 completions right out of the gate. For a brief flash, it looked like this might finally be the spark this offense needed. Finally, a reason to believe in something again. But it didn't last. Baltimore's defense saw blood in the water. Blitzes came from every angle. The pocket collapsed before the snap was over. And Sanders? Thrown to the wolves. He went from promising rookie to overwhelmed survivor in minutes. Final stat line, 4 of 16, 47 yards, 1 interception. Brutal. But the blame doesn't fall squarely on Shedeur, because here's the part that makes the entire disaster even worse. He didn't get any practice reps with the starting offense. Not one. No chemistry with the receivers. No timing with the O-line. No actual preparation for a live NFL game against one of the league's most relentless defenses. Kevin Stefanski confirmed it himself. Gabriel had been getting all the reps in practice. Every last one. So let's be clear. This wasn't just a rookie struggling under pressure. This was organizational malpractice. You can't expect a 5th-round pick to magically turn into a franchise QB when you don't even let him warm up with the starters. That's not development. That's sabotage. And then you act surprised when it falls apart. What happened to Sanders wasn't just unfortunate, it was predictable. And the fact that the Browns weren't ready for this scenario exposes a deeper problem. One where the coaching staff is always reactive, never proactive. And spoiler alert, that attitude doesn't win games. It gets people fired. Let's talk about coaching, because what Kevin Stefanski has done with this quarterback situation isn't just questionable, it's inexcusable. When a team is struggling, fans point fingers at the QB. When a team collapses, you look at leadership. This is a collapse, and it has Stefanski's fingerprints all over it. Shedeur Sanders got thrown into one of the most hostile in-game scenarios imaginable. No warning, no rhythm, no reps with the first team, and Stefanski confirmed it at the podium. Dillon Gabriel had been taking every single starter rep in practice, all of them. That would be risky even if you had a 10-year veteran under center. But Gabriel is a rookie, and Sanders, also a rookie. You're operating with 2 quarterbacks who've never seen NFL speed under live fire. So why prepare only one? That isn't just flawed coaching logic. It's straight-up negligence. You're in the middle of the season, slipping through your hands. You've got a battered O-line, You're heading into a divisional matchup against a team with one of the most aggressive defenses in football. And your contingency plan? A fifth-round rookie who hasn't taken a single snap with the guys he's now expected to save the game with? That's not just unfair. That borders on professional sabotage. In what world does that setup make sense? Putting Shedeur in halfway through this war of a matchup with zero preparation is like asking someone to defuse a bomb after watching a training video on mute. You don't set your quarterback up for success. You set him up to fail. And then you stand at the podium and give coach speak about evaluating the tape. It's insulting to the players, the fans, and to Sanders himself. This wasn't strategy. This was panic management disguised as coaching. If this is the plan, then no wonder the Browns are 2-8, and no wonder the stadium is losing faith, not just in the players on the field, but in the coaches behind the curtain. Here's the part that hurts the most. The defense didn't just show up, they showed out. This wasn't a unit going through the motions. This was a top-tier, playoff-caliber performance from a defense fighting like the season still mattered. Myles Garrett? He wasn't just good. He was historic. 4 sacks against Lamar Jackson. Not some statue in the pocket. Not a rookie making bad reads. 4 sacks against one of the most mobile, elusive quarterbacks in NFL history. That's the kind of performance that gets you Defensive Player of the Year votes. That's the kind of stat line that should win football games. But in Cleveland, it's just another wasted masterpiece. Carson Schlesinger continued his case for Defensive Rookie of the Year, making plays all over the field. Mason Graham had his best game yet. Mike Hall made impact plays in key moments. The defensive line was bullying Baltimore's front. They shut down red zone opportunities. They forced field goals. They limited Derrick Henry. They tackled, pressured, swarmed. Everything you would want from a playoff contending defense. And still, it meant nothing. Because while the defense was playing like their careers were on the line, the offense looked like they had already checked out. No rhythm, no urgency, no idea what they were doing. For every sack the defense delivered, the offense answered with a 3-and-out. It's not just unfair, it's demoralizing. And don't think the defense doesn't feel it. These guys are emptying the tank, game after game. Stop. And every time they walk to the sideline after a stop, they already know what's coming. A stalled drive, a missed throw, a coaching decision that makes less sense than the last one. This isn't missing pieces. This is a franchise dragging half of its roster across broken glass every Sunday, while the other half watches from behind a wall of excuses. The Browns don't have a talent problem on defense. They have a support problem. And if they don't fix it soon, they won't just lose games. They'll lose the guys who are still fighting to win them. When you're 2-8, the last thing fans want to hear after an ugly loss is a coach recycling cliches. But that's exactly what Kevin Stefanski delivered. Again. He was asked about Dylan Gabriel's concussion. His answer? He got checked at halftime. I don't know all the details exactly. What? Your starting quarterback might have suffered a head injury, and you don't have immediate answers on what triggered protocol? That's either terrifyingly careless or flat out unacceptable. Either way, it's not leadership. That's the kind of moment where you stand in front of cameras and take control of the narrative. Stefanski just shrugged. Then came the inevitable question about Shedeur Sanders' performance, and Stefanski delivered a masterclass in coached-up nothingness. We'll look at it. There's things to clean up. He battled. That's not analysis. That's a voicemail. Shedeur got thrown into a buzzsaw without preparation, and the best his head coach could come up with is, he battled? That's the same exact coach speak you drop after a preseason game in August, not after a must-win divisional game where the offense looked like it had never practiced together. And when asked why Sanders hadn't gotten first-team reps, Stefanski doubled down on the bad logic. You try to get your starter ready to play, and when your starter is a rookie, Those reps are valuable. He's right about that. But what he didn't say is even louder. Shedeur is a rookie too, and acting like your backup doesn't need reps in a season where everything is falling apart? That's not strategy. That's delusion. Browns fans have watched this team unravel before, but what makes this different is how passive the leadership feels. Stefanski sounds less like a guy trying to fix the fire, and more like someone explaining politely why the house is already gone. At some point, the rhetoric doesn't just fail, it becomes part of the problem. And right now, Cleveland doesn't need polished quotes. It needs a coach who doesn't need to be asked the obvious, because he's already doing something about it. Somehow, in the middle of the chaos, there was a moment. Down by 7, inside Baltimore territory, just under 2 minutes left in the game. On paper, a long shot. In reality, a chance for a rookie quarterback to show the entire league who he is. And in that brief sequence, Shedeur Sanders didn't look overwhelmed. He looked composed. The stats won't tell you this. They'll show you a 4 for 16 disaster. But in those final moments, when the pressure dialed up and the crowd got loud, Sanders actually played his best football of the night. He stepped up in the pocket. He scrambled when the lane opened. He checked down when the big play wasn't there and avoided drive-killing sacks. He threw with confidence, not hesitation. It wasn't flashy, but it was poised. That's something Browns fans haven't seen in a while. A quarterback who didn't fold when the moment got loud. For a team starving for leadership under center, this meant something. Even his body language was different. He didn't flinch, didn't panic. He looked like a guy still believing he could prove people wrong, even after being set up to fail from the jump. That matters, because confidence is one thing. Resilience? That's another level. No, Shedeur didn't complete the comeback. But in a season where the Browns had watched 2 quarterbacks deliver more excuses than answers, Sanders showed one trait that can't be taught in a playbook. He didn't give up. And that's what makes the next step so obvious. He needs a full week of reps, a game plan built around his strengths, routes that develop quicker, rollouts that play to his mobility, a coaching staff that gives him the same benefit of preparation they've stubbornly reserved for Dillon Gabriel. Because the only thing more frustrating than watching a rookie struggle is knowing he might not have had to, if the team had just believed in him before the lights came on. Let's be honest, the Browns aren't coming back from this. They're 2-8. The playoff race is over. The division is long gone. And mathematically, sure, there's still a sliver of hope. But emotionally, spiritually, this team has already flatlined. So here's the truth the Browns need to accept. This season is about growth now, not glory. That means one thing. Shedeur Sanders should be the starting quarterback for the rest of the year. Full stop. Not because he earned it with his performance against the Ravens. He didn't. And not because he's clearly better than Dillon Gabriel, yet. But because there's nothing left to lose, and possibly everything to gain. Give him the first-team reps. The full practice week. A system built around mobility, read options, and deep shots, not the same tired game plan that's failed both him and Gabriel. And then, let him play, let him run, let him throw, let him learn. Let him make mistakes with a coaching staff actually behind him, not just blaming him afterward. Best case, you find out Shedeur has legit franchise QB traits. The timing, the instincts, the leadership, the things you can't teach. Worst case, he doesn't pan out. And you go into the offseason with clarity instead of chaos. But at least you'll know. Because keeping him on the bench, feeding all the first-team reps to Gabriel, and still expecting a miracle on Sundays? That's not a strategy. That's denial. The Browns have 7 games left. 7 real chances to build something. Not for this year, but for next. Use them. Because wasting what's left of this season would be bad. But wasting a real opportunity to evaluate your future? That's how teams stay stuck in mediocrity forever. This might be the hardest pill to swallow for Browns fans. Cleveland could have the Defensive Player of the Year and the Defensive Rookie of the Year on a 3-win team. Let that sink in. Myles Garrett is having a historic season. 4 sacks against Lamar Jackson? That doesn't happen. That's rare air. That's generational dominance that should be tipping the scales in every game. And instead, it's being buried under offensive dysfunction. You've got Carson Schlesinger flying around the field looking like a 10-year vet, leading all rookies in pressures, tackles for loss, and awareness well beyond his draft spot. Mason Graham and Mike Hall are anchoring the trenches with power. This isn't just a good defense, it's elite, it's special. But if no one builds around it, it dies in silence. This is the kind of unit that wins Super Bowls with even average offensive support. And the Browns? They can't even give it competence. They're squandering a window that most franchises spend decades trying to open. And it's not because they don't have the players. It's because the leadership doesn't have a vision. Stefanski's offense is predictable. The quarterback room is mismanaged. The game plans are designed for players they don't have, instead of maximizing the ones they do. So while the defense grinds every game, getting stops, forcing turnovers, playing their hearts out, the offense walks out like they're rehearsing a script no one even believes in. And eventually, that wears on you. You start playing tight. You take fewer risks. You wonder if any of it matters when the scoreboard never moves. And if this continues, these defensive stars won't stick around. That's the real tragedy. Not just another bad year, not just another quarterback dilemma, but the possibility that Cleveland had the blueprint and still managed to waste it. You want to know the most painful part of this entire mess? We've seen this before. Different quarterbacks, different coaches, different excuses, but the same heartbreak. Every single year. Browns fans don't expect perfection. They're not asking for an undefeated season or a Hall of Fame quarterback overnight. All they've ever wanted is belief, just something stable to hold on to, a plan, a direction, a reason to think this team is finally building toward more than mediocrity. But what they've gotten instead is this: a season imploding under epic mismanagement, a top 5 defense carrying JV-level offense, a quarterback room treated like a guessing game, and a coaching staff that refuses to adjust until it's too late, always reactive, never ready. Myles Garrett is wasting his prime on a team that doesn't deserve it. Schlesinger might be building one of the best rookie resumes in the league, and no one's noticing because all attention is on this disjointed, lifeless offense. And now fans are left staring down the barrel of another top 5 draft pick, asking the same question they asked in 2016, 2018, 2022. Do we take another quarterback? That's not just frustrating, it's exhausting. The Browns aren't cursed, they're poorly built. They don't lack talent, they lack leadership. Until that changes, no draft pick will save them. No shiny new rookie will fix what's broken at the top. The scary truth? This season is already gone. And if the Browns don't wake up soon, next year will be too. You can't keep asking the fan base to believe in quarterbacks, systems, or schemes that clearly don't work. Cleveland doesn't need another rebuild. It needs accountability. It needs a coach with clarity, a GM with direction, a plan that's not scrapped every November. Because the real nightmare isn't losing, it's getting used to it.